Sunday Extra continues with Kim Sirdevan, the director of Youth Crisis Center. Kim, welcome to Sunday Extra.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Tell us about the Youth Crisis Center. I've heard this name for years, almost, since my teen years, I think, when I knew some people who actually had to go there. So tell us a little bit about it.
Well, Youth Crisis Center has been around since 1974, and we started as Florida's first runaway shelter. And since then, we've really evolved now to really being a full-service system where we service over 1,200 youth, young adults, and families each year who are experiencing some traumatic events or some concerns in their life, bumps in their life, if you will, where they come in and we're just trying to stabilize them and figure out what's going on and better help them.
And some big bumps. I mean, there's some major things that happen in the families. And so, yeah, when it started with the runaways, and we're just seeing the statistic of about the runaways recently, there was things that came up. How do you find that? Do they come to you? Do they run away to you? Once they get back with the family, do you say we got to work this out together? I guess there's all different kinds of situations.
Yes, the children come to us in multiple ways. You know, if they're on the streets, law enforcement's obviously looking for them. Yeah. Missing persons report may be filed, to identify the young folks that are on the streets. And so we are the authorized agency to receive those young persons when they come through that have been on the streets. Families often will have their child run away and then come back. And oftentimes it's just it's an argument in the home that the child doesn't know how to cope with, and they run away. Which is very scary to be on the streets.
Well, it is, and they say that most of the, 80, I forgot the number, and excuse me if I'm wrong, it's like 80% of the missing children are runaways.
Yes.
And so that's what we've been dealing with, and Youth Crisis Center noted that in the 70s and still progressing from then on.
Yeah, we are. And, just really trying to provide that safety net for them so that they can come into a safe space and have the therapist talk about what's going on, what led them to leave, what led them to be on the streets, what was that like, and really trying to reunify them. Our main goal is to keep the families together, not having them enter any kind of dependency or delinquency system, and just really working on the family dynamics and family environment to strengthen them.
That is because especially, I mean, I know the pressures of teens when I was a child, nothing compared to how they are now. But for the same respect, our brains haven't formed.
No.
Mine,
no.
I'm 56 and I'm still working on mine. Can you imagine a 14-year-old with struggles of dealing with crises in their life? I guess you do because you deal with them every day.
Yes.
How overbearing it is now for kids.
It's really sad. I started at Youth Crisis Center, 17 years ago as a
really?
Therapist.
What was it that got you involved?
I wanted to help kids. I've always wanted to be the voice for children, and I wanted to help strengthen families. And I saw that through my work in babysitting and working as camp counselors, that these kids, they have a voice. And sometimes the life that they live is very complicated depending on the circumstances. And I wanted to be that individual to really listen to them and to provide some guidance and supports for them. And so when I started in this field, we were serving primarily 10 to 17-year-olds back in the early 2000s. And now we have shifted to really serving younger children. Our youngest client currently is 4. And when you think about that, you really can't do therapy very much with a 4-year-old.
How did the 4-year-old get there? Was this just a
lot of
home?
Behavioral issues experiencing it in daycare.
Oh.
So the schools start recognizing things, and then we start talking to the parents. And it's really about developing the relationship with the parent and the child.
I love the way you keep going back to that to make sure.
It's so important.
People see you as the government or something like that,
right.
And it's anything but that.
Yes. We've been often recognized or thought that we were a mini detention facility, but we are not. We're really here to strengthen families. We're here to really continue to build children and have them learn coping skills for the most part. So we work with children as young as 3, actually. I mentioned the youngest child is 4 currently. But one of the new factors that we have is to really also provide services to parents. If a child is experiencing some concerns, when you look at the family members, they may be also having some concerns in their life and really don't have anywhere to turn. And so we will also work with those individuals because we do believe in strengthening the families.
Right. It does. It takes it from both ends because I coached youth football for decades. And you really become their father. It's sometimes the only male in their life, or whatever it is, just being an extra parent or an extra set of eyes to see the behavior of a child, and to know that your whole life was to make them whole and try to do their best. But one thing we all learned too was it takes the parents on the other end and learn where they're coming from.
Right. And our society is There's so many factors going on with folks working and lack of transportation and just different dynamics occurring, medical insurances and things of the like to truly try to help. And so, just giving us a call. We're open 24 hours a day to talk. That's the first step. If you're experiencing something in your life that you think you just want to talk about, you can give us a call anytime. We're open 24 hours a day.
What's the number?
Excuse me, a day. It's 904-725-6662. And we have staff ready to take your call, ready to provide some guidance. It may be, services with YCC, or it may be making a suggestion to some of our community partners as well.
And do you have shelters for them? I mean, are there places that they come and stay with y'all? Or?
We do. On our south side of Jacksonville, we do have a 34-bed program that services young folks 10 to 17. And many of these young folks are having just some concerns in the home or at school, or they're on the streets, or they're not able to return home for being, loss of house. And so we will provide services at no charge to the family, really to try to figure out what led them to this crisis and how we can better help them. They will receive school on site through Duval County Public Schools. And this program really services everyone all over the country. I personally have worked with young children from New York and Colorado.
Wow. Now, how did that transpire? Because of the basis
they ran away.
They ran. Oh, my gosh.
We're experiencing victims of trafficking. And so they have run away, and they have been picked up on the streets by law enforcement and brought to us. So we primarily are serving children in 5 counties, which would be Duval, Clay, Baker, Nassau, and St. John's. But we have had young folks that have run, they've caught the bus, or they've left with folks that they shouldn't be, headed to Florida. And for various reasons. And so we have that program, which again is always open, 365. And then we also offer outpatient services for folks that, the children will stay in the home and they come to us and really are trying to strengthen the family.
Just coming through counseling?
They're coming through counseling.
Other activities that they would do there? Or
we're opening a summer camp program where the children will come 3 days a week for 4 hours at a time, and we feed them and they learn therapeutic activities. They'll have recreational activities, gain social skills. It gives the parents a break, for a few hours a day at no charge to the families. So we're offering those services for this summer as well.
That's wonderful. And you have something coming up in September, too. What were you...
We do. YCC has recently undergone a rebranding. We really took a look at who were we serving and were we really having the right message out there. And what we found is the majority of the individuals that we serve have experienced some kind of traumatic life event. Divorce, financial issues, abuse, grief and loss.
And even in their behavioral issues with maybe even something like an ADHD issue with in a severe case.
And just the families aren't sure what to do. And so we really looked at that. And what we decided is that we really needed to focus more of our services around trauma. And so we are rebranding. And if you think of the life of a butterfly, you think that they are, starting as a caterpillar, go into a cocoon and come out a butterfly. Well, that's how our families come into us. They come in one way, unsure of resources, unsure of what to do to better help their family or their child. And through the services of YCC, they come out anew. And they're able to take off and fly, if you will, and learn the new skill sets. And so we're having a butterfly garden lunch in September 29th from noon to 1. And this is really just an opportunity for us to share our messaging. It's going to be on our campus. And we'll have a tour of our programs. We have a guest speaker who has been through services, and he can tell his story of what he was like when he came in as a 14-year-old.
You're catching people at the lowest points of their life, aren't you?
We are.
I mean, children and parents at their wits' end, the children not even knowing what their wits are.
Right.
And then trying to figure it out and not knowing what's on the other side.
They're on the brink of being broken, if you will. And there are some that have good coping skills, but they're just not sure what to do. Teenagers are really complicated individuals.
Oh, yes.
And we're just learning how to better talk, and they don't want to talk. They just want to, talk to their peers. And it's really trying to have the family stay connected and involved in their child's life. Never push the child away, because if you do, they will find somewhere else to have love. That's true. That is very scary.
Kim Sirdevan is the director of the Youth Crisis Center. That's what we're talking about. And this event on 9/29 on September 29th. And what's a website where people can know information about this?
It's www.ycc.org.
YCC.org. That's easy to remember. YCC.org. If you're not remembering that, Youth Crisis Center, Google that for Jacksonville, North Florida, and I guess it would show up and get you to the right place.
Absolutely.
And that event, any other things going on at that event? Just a way to talk to the to y'all and to the staff?
Well, we're going to talk to the community and share our message. And the other initiative that we have is that we will be opening a homeless shelter for young adults that are identifying as LGBTQ. And this will be a 9-bed program where oftentimes these individuals feel very vulnerable going into a homeless shelter in the community, and they're on the streets, therefore. And
They
so,
feel like they're outcast of the outcast.
right,
sometimes.
right. So we will be specializing in some services and partnering with JASMYN, our local LGBT support system, and changing homelessness on this initiative. So we'll hopefully have that program open and have a tour and be able to really speak to what our goals are for this.
It is such a complicated issue, and y'all are there you're there to catch them at their lowest and to see success. I mean, what kind of fulfillment do you have to see that somebody has turned it around just because they had somebody to talk to, somebody to come to?
Right. And it was so exciting. We have another program where we serve young folks 6 to 11 and their families. And this is in a group setting. And we're really just trying to help them better understand how to manage their behaviors, and teaching the parents how to also help their children manage behaviors. And it was so exciting at our graduation for the girls. We dressed them up in little caps and gowns. And then we had 2 residents from Touchstone Village, which is our transitional living program for adults, that came over who just graduated from high school.
Wow.
And so they spoke about their life and the fact that they had, things happen in their life, but yet they were successful in completing their academics, and the importance of this. And so you had these 6 to 11-year-olds and then these young adults all connecting.
And there's the great connection there of child to child.
Absolutely.
Even though that 12-year difference of a 6-year-old to an 18-year-old, it's still a child in their eyes.
Right. And they still look up to them.
They do. That's what's wonderful.
Absolutely.
That's what I love about that K through 12 kind of schools, because the kids don't act up because they're still because they're responsible down for those little third graders sometimes.
Right.
And they don't act up as much.
Yes.
But it's a wonderful idea. Oh, I love the heart behind that. Kim Sirdevan, the director of the Youth Crisis Center, ycc.org is the website for information. Anything else you want to add in our last little 90 seconds here?
We just thank our community for the continual support of everything that we're doing.
How can they donate online? People can just
Absolutely.
donate. Money is the best thing you need, isn't it?
Money is very good. We can provide activities for the children. Many of these young folks do not have food in their home. We have a food pantry, clothing, school supplies, for back to school. So we do have a donation button on our website where folks can donate, or they can drop off donations at our location at 3015 Parental Home Road.
You're going to need to come back, and we're going to need to talk a long time about all the things y'all are doing, okay?
Thank you.
I'd love to have you on again. Kim Sirdevan, the director of the Youth Crisis Center. Please find out more information at ycc.org, ycc.org, the Youth Crisis Center, helping youth for over 40 years
Over 40 years.
It's wonderful. We're now into our 3rd generation of kids who need help, because they're always going to need help.
Absolutely.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I appreciate it.